And on Monday, we kicked off our Afghanistan series with a look at the Abbey Gate bombing. That is where, as you know, 13 U.S. service members were killed. The pain for the families will never go away. Mark Schmitz, a Gold Star father, spoke last August at a hearing before the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He told the committee his last conversation with his son, Marine Lance Corporal Jared M. Schmitz.
He told me they were shifting his post and he would be heading out on the airstrip. That never happened. The next day, the explosion happened. The next day, my someone's gone forever. Fortunately, I was able to tell him I love him one last time. Mr. Biden has run his entire political campaign for 50 years as the family man. Well, I've got news for you, sir. You are a disgrace to this nation. You have no business having ultimate command over our military, and I regret not saying that to your face when I had the opportunity in Dover. While I stood there on the tarmac, watching you check your watch over and over again, all I wanted to do was shout out, "It's 2:30. You, sir, stole their lives, their futures, their dreams."
Fellow Gold Star Father Darin Hoover also spoke at that hearing. He delivered a very direct message to President Biden.
We have Biden shouting in a press conference, "Name me one single objective that we set out to accomplish that we failed on. Name me one. In all of our history, not one." I say to you, Mr. President, you got 13 pictures that we have all named. You got 13 that you did not accomplish. I know he can't name one of them without a card sitting in front of him or a teleprompter sitting in front of him. I say to him, resign.
Darin Hoover joins me, the Gold Star father of Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover, who was, of course, among the 13 service members killed at Abbey Gate in 2021. Darin, obviously, there are actually, no words I can even utter that will heal you. So it's like I come to these interviews having almost tried to practice my questions before I got here. It's so difficult, and I guess I want to know, what was your son like?
Oh boy, very outgoing. He was very much a family man. Our family meant the world to him. He was always the champion of the little guy. If he saw someone being bullied, Taylor was a little bit bigger in stature than most of his classmates. He'd step in and without hesitation would defend those kids, and it didn't matter who it was. But he was a patriot, and first and foremost loved his country, and had wanted to be a Marine from a very, very young age.
He was in the Marines 11 years, 31 years old, still a very young man. What were his dreams? What did he want to do with his life?
Go on, get married, have kids, all the things that a young man would want. He loved his nieces, nephews, cousins with his whole heart, and every time he'd be around them, they'd all come flocking to him. He's just a big teddy bear. But move on and do the best that he could.
Obviously we can't bring him back, and and the country feels terrible for what happened. But is there anything the United States can do to sort of relieve some of the pain? What would you like to see done? I mean, we can't bring your son back with the other 12 who were killed, but is there anything that we can do to try to make it just a little bit easier?
That's actually a good question. So for the past little over a year now, we have been going before Congress, as you played those clips. We're petitioning Congress to come up with maybe a couple of laws, maybe some procedures to take into account when the non-combatant evacuation operation takes control, that the State Department steps out and lets the DOD take over. We can't have this happening in the manner in which it happened to any other families. It's frustrating. It is despicable that we have had to fight with the DOD, fight with the State Department, fight with the administration, but we're not going to give up. It's a long, drawn out process. We understand that, but again, this can't happen to any other families. Yes, war is hell. We understand that. There are going to be service members, unfortunately, killed, but in this instance, everything was preventable, and it didn't need to happen at all.
And it's like, as I said, is that everyone is deeply, sorrow. We have deep sorrow for what happened. I didn't know your son, but I would have liked to know him and the other ones. Darin Hoover, thank you, sir, and good luck. And I know you're going to help change things for others. Thank you, sir.